Hey, it's Tony from Quinsanity. Let me show you how I'm going to add on a can light to an existing can light. Okay, so this is the existing can light we're going to tap off of to go into the new shower. So you can see up here, I believe I have a little mark. Yeah, right there. And so I'm going to drill a hole for that. I'm going to match the size of the can light I'm going to install. And then we'll run a wire from that point to this one. And I'll show you that next. Alright, before we begin, turn off the power. Alright, let's pull this trim ring off. Pull it down, and then there's these two clips on the sides, both sides actually, and then you can pull it right down and pull this light bulb out. And then on top there's a spring clip, and you can pull it right down. Okay, once the trim ring is removed, you can pull these housing screws. I believe there's 3 total along the bottom side. There's one here, one here, and one on the other side. Once you pull those screws, this whole housing will come out and it will expose the wiring. Alright, we removed those screws. Let's see if that center will pull out. Or center or housing or whatever you want to call it. Oh yeah, pulls right out of there. Alright, so next thing I would do is run a fiberglass rod that way and make sure it's clear before we drill the hole for that, where the heck's it at? There it is. Yeah, before we drill the hole for that can light, let's run a rod through to make sure it's clear. So that way we have no drywall repair. So up in here, see the housing? That's where the electrical is stored. Pull that cover off. There, you can see the wires. So we're going to take off from there and go to the new can light. But you got to make sure the wiring is correct as far as the gauge of the wire. Now up in there, a little further, right above it, you can see it's a white wire. So that means it's a 14-2 wire. So that's the size wire you want to run to the new can light. Alright, our fiberglass rod made it through from this hole to over there. So let's go ahead and drill that thing. Alright, most of these lights come with a little template that you can put on the ceiling and mark around it so you know what size to cut. And that's what I did up here. You can see where I put the template up there, drew a pencil mark around it, and then cut it out. And you have 2 options as far as cutting it out. I cut it out with like a keyhole saw, or if you have the right hole saw, you can just use a hole saw and drill it out. Alright, now you can see where I ran the wire from the can light to the hole. I don't know if you can see. There you can see the hole over there. And you can see my rod. There's a fiberglass rod sticking out of the hole. And it's tied to this wire right here going through the can light. So I'm going to pull that through, and then I can make my termination on both ends. And then we'll have a light. Alright, so what I'd like to do is I like to bring the thing all the way down to ground level. The wire's plenty long enough right now. Strip the Romex, about, I don't know, 6 inches. I just lightly go through that jacket and then cut it through the other way. Peel off this cardboard or wrapping, whatever you want to call it.
we'll strip the wire roughly about 5/8 to 1/2 inch, I guess, or 1/2 to 5/8, whatever you want to call it. Then on the bottom, this is basically part of that light. This is the driver. So, and this is also where you're going to make your connection for your wire. There's a little slot here. You can go back and forth. And then you need to put in a sleeve. Basically a knockout sleeve. Then you can push your wire in. Protects the wire. Push it in so it grabs. That's it. Then on the other side, it's basically color to color. You know, white to white, ground to ground. Make sure those connections are tight. And we have black to black. Fold it over. Close it up. And I like to put it in the end, so it's just a 4-inch can. That way this whole thing goes up through the hole. If you put it off the side, it's a little more difficult to get it through the hole that's cut. All right, I'll show you that next. All right, I want to mention that I did strip the wire like I did at the previous can light, and also strip them. It's so much easier to strip them down here than it is up in the junction box. So do that first, and then put it back through that knockout sleeve, and then make your connection so that way it connects to that light. All right, we got our connections made up in that junction box. Put the cover back on, and we put our housing back through the hole and put our mounting screws in. I'm going to put the trim on right now. Later on when we do the renovation, I'm going to change that out. But at least we'll have some light for now. Little clip. You can put the light bulb in if you want. Then there's these little screw or spring holders on the side. Just squeeze them, put them in and squeeze it and then push it in. There. All right, let's go to the other one really quick so you can see how that fastens. All right, there's a little pigtail up the driver that connects to the light. And you can't mess it up as far as the orientation goes. There's a little slot. And then it screws on. There's a little screw on the side. Push it back up through the hole. And then there's spring clips on the light itself. If you can see that. Then you can push that up through the hole, open the one, open the other, and then push it in. It locks in. It's perfect, man. You're all done. You got light. Hold on. Hey, you did it. All right, if you like it, subscribe. Thanks, guys.